Hey guys, it's D.I.D. Choi here today with a quick tip on how to add guitars to your cues to make them cinematic and, give an extra sense of spice. First, I'm going to start off by building a effects chain with a little overdrive. This could be the stock Logic overdrive. Here I'm using the free trial version of Guitar Rig, and all I really use from here is the Tube Screamer emulation. I turn the drive all the way down, turn the volume up. That should do it for now, and then we'll test it out later. Let's add some amp designer from Logic again. Very basic. This is a Vox emulation. Let's stick with it. I'm gonna boost up the mids a little, take the treble down a bit, and the presence down a bit. The master down, boost the gain. This will all change once I plug the guitar in. Okay, after that, I want to add some time-based plugins, so I'm gonna add a tape delay. For the tape delay, I'm gonna do a dotted eighth, which is my favorite time, probably because I have a modern worship style of background. I'm gonna go and select diffuse. I want that tape feel. Turn up the flutter and the LFO. Feedback 30%-ish. Again, we'll tweak as we go. Actually, why don't I just play something and tweak now? Yeah, so that's the level of drive that I want, where it's like, it's crunchy. There's more hair than the clean tone, but if I really start going hard at it, then you get the distortion. Since I have a telly, let's turn the treble down and the presence down a bit more, boost the mids. Why don't I tune the guitar? Very handy tune plugin right up here. All you have to do is press it. And make sure you're record armed on whatever track you pressed it on. And it's a very accurate tuner too. Alright, and let's turn the delay on. Yeah, I like where we're at. Okay, after the delay, I'm gonna go now more diffuse from the delay and go add a reverb. Let's do the Valhalla vintage verb. Now we're converting into stereo. Let's start with a nice hall preset. How about Hall of the Siren? How does that sound? Let's turn the mix down 30%. Off, on. Yeah, so it smooths everything out. I think because I am using a fairly clean tone, I'm gonna add a compressor at the start of the chain, 1176. So now, even though my picking isn't all that great, because I'm not a guitarist, by the way. I mean, I play acoustic fairly decently, but electric guitar I'm still learning. Now, my room has some grounding issue or something, so there's constantly this terrible hum. And depending on how I move it, the sound changes. So you'll have to bear with me there. I will use some RX to denoise it later on, but yeah, for now, this is what we've got. Yeah, so this is kind of the effects chain that I would probably start off with for anything cinematic, where I'm playing something ambient. Depending on the style of the music or the cue, I'll tweak it from here, add things, remove things, replace things. Yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna write some piano stuff first so that we have something to work with, and then we'll add some guitar pads and stuff. Alright, so I have a little piano track written down. Okay, basically just improvised it now. Let's see what kind of pads we can add. So for this first tip, I'm gonna add some tremolo guitar. So let me just duplicate that track we just made. So because we're gonna be making a pad, I'm gonna add Valhalla Shimmer, which is an awesome reverb. You can also add Shimmer with some manual bussing. Actually, let me also make another track without the Valhalla Shimmer and show you how to do this without the plugin. So rather than Valhalla Shimmer, I'll add a different reverb, fully wet. It doesn't have to be Valhalla Room, it could be Space Designer, it could be SilverVerb. SilverVerb is actually really nice for this stuff. I'm gonna add a send from the reverb into a pitch plugin, pitch shifter. 100%, 100%. Let's do pitch tracking, latency compensation, and this gets sent back into that other reverb, and I'll go no output here. Adjust the sends. Obviously you don't need all the reverb going there, and you don't need all of it going into the pitch either. Should go a little bit more pitch. A little bit more. Yeah, so that proves my case. You don't need Valhalla Shimmer, but I do like Valhalla Shimmer more, so I will be using that. Single reverse, big stereo, low cut, size good, feedback. I want to basically hide my attack. I'm gonna take the tone knob of my guitar down. I'm gonna use the middle pickup of my Telecaster here, which has a humbucker and a tele bridge pickup. Let me make sure I'm in tune again. Somebody's having a lot of fun outside, and I'm just gonna... And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the volume down so I can play loudly and do a lot of tremolos, but all we get is gonna be that kind of ambient verb. Also, let me turn up the mix of the reverb itself so we get much less of my attack. Alright, so that was one pass of some tremolo guitar. I was just completely improvising, playing a lot of the tonic and the fifth of D major. If I play you this thing without any of the effects, it's gonna sound terrible. Like I said, I'm not a guitarist, but with all the reverbs and stuff, all these tiny imperfections add a bit of character. Could also drive it a little more. So we get more hair and a little bit more compression. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Now let's go back to this other patch I had, and I'm just gonna play in some random single notes and hold them for a long time, and then in the processing you'll see what we do. So that might have felt a little too stark, but once we get it processing, it'll sound pretty nice. So diving right in, what I'm gonna do, let me zoom into the waveform a bit so I can see all these hits. I'm gonna go in and remove the silences and set the release time to pretty long, but the attack time is basically exactly what we are at. Threshold, there we go. So this basically splits up all of these notes, and what I'm going to do is fade into all of these and make it kind of more gradual. So this creates a bit of a swelling ambience kind of effect. Before going on, now that I finished recording this, Let me just quickly... So if you're someone like me and you have a terrible room with a bunch of like radio interference, grounding, hum, and all that, a lot of iZotope plugins is very helpful. So I do this very often. Just take a blank part of the music and then learn that noise. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and record a little ostinato. I'm a terrible guitarist, so don't know how this is gonna go. Wish me luck. For recording, you have to turn off the iZotope stuff because there's a lot of latency. You can see here it creates 0.3 seconds of latency, and a couple milliseconds latency is fine, but 300 milliseconds, yeah, that's not gonna work. So I'm just gonna play something in from here. That was probably very much out of time, but oh well. This is a quick tip video after all. None of this was really planned. I'm totally riffing and writing on the spot. One thing to notice is that on the tremolos, I played the middle pickup. On the swells, I played the humbucker neck pickup. On this, I forgot to change the pickup. I wanted to change the pickup, but I forgot. So again, we are on the neck pickup. Something else we can do to give more variation to the sound is choose a different amp. So this was a Vox simulation. What if I do something like a silver panel? So this is the Fender cabinet as well. Silver panel, black panel? Let's go black panel. And let's go with classic SM57, slightly off axis. More drive. I wonder how efficient doing a quick flex edit would be on this. So I did play basically monophonically for the whole thing. Let's analyze this. Let's try quantizing to the 16th note, which is what I was playing. Yeah, so a quick flex time edit does a really good job. Here at the start where I was not really sure what I was playing, it didn't do so much of a good job, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's bring it in later. Fade it in. Alright, and finally, let's add some low droning tones, just for fun. All of this is totally improvised, so honestly, as I say, let's do this, I don't even know what we're doing here. So what we're gonna do is, first I'm gonna tune to drop D. You're not gonna see me recording, we're gonna jump right to when I'm processing.
A few moments later.
Alright, so I recorded in the part, let me put my guitar down. I did some flex pitch editing because I played a couple wrong notes and I didn't want to record again. If this was like a more proper thing, obviously record again, play the right notes. But this is what we have right now. So it's just me playing on the low E string. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna bounce this in place. So I bounced the audio. Now we're gonna go into the time and pitch machine, which you can find in the editor in the file tab and in functions. And we're going to do some destructive editing. I'm going to take this down negative 1200 cents, 100 cents per semitone. So this is 1 octave. So now we're getting some really nice bass. I added a compressor with a fast attack and release so I could tame the transients just a little bit more. I added the EQ. I added a lot of saturation, and then I added the waves 1 knot fatter, which I think was also free. I don't know if it's still free, but it was when I got it. And then finally the SSL, adding some boost in the low end, again with the filter, keeping it in check. I added in the mic preamp to give it some extra tone color, more of that saturation. I added some compression to even everything out. And let's listen to the track. It's not mixed or anything, very rough. Oh, let me add that Guitar Denoise onto our Tremolo track as well.
A few moments later.
Okay, so added a quick EQ and a buzz compressor on the master, but pretty much unmixed overall. Let's hear it. Right, so I did a bunch of different things with the guitar, using one guitar. If I had multiple different types of guitar here, we get even more variance in timbre and even more cool sounds. But yeah, I started with a piano line. I added a tremolo guitar pad where I had the basic channel. The reverb is turned up quite a bit so that it's mostly the reverb and less of the actual original dry sound. On top of that was the Valhalla Shimmer. And I'm just playing away back and forth with the pick, very roughly, very badly. I'm playing the right notes, or at least the notes I want. And it is a bit of an ambient wash. As long as I play something diatonic, it works, at least for this style of cue that I wrote. Secondly, we added a swell patch. Not a patch, I'm so used to talking about MIDI, but we added some swell guitar where, I don't have a volume pedal. If I had a volume pedal, you could actually do it manually, like kind of thing, but I don't have a volume pedal, so I'm just manually fading in the notes because the fade in is before the signal chain. And again, we have the same effects. Yeah, this is basically completely unaltered from the original signal chain I talked about, other than the guitar denoising. And then thirdly, we added a ostinato, which I played in pretty poorly and had to quantize with Logic's Flex, but you know, it turned out pretty well. And with the extra compression I have, you know, it kind of hides my poor guitar playing as well as the reverbs. And this ostinato kind of just adds a nice little bit of motion to this piece. Well, lastly, we did the drop D tuning, pitched down an octave, and with a bunch of hyped up low end, and it's fat and it works well. If you have any other ideas you found while noodling with your guitar that's really useful for cinematic music, leave them down in the comments, always up for learning more. Also, if this video helped you, definitely let me know that it did by commenting, leaving a like, and subscribing. Thank you for watching. It's been D.I.D. Choi. I'll see you in the next one.